Hi. Sorry about that. It is another go round of SOT. I got to find the old. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So this is the last picks of the week that we had from a while back. That's how far back we're going here. And we will break it all down for you. And we have a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to catch up on. And it is promotion and heartbreak and stuff going down to the wire and buffoonery and shenanigans and picks of the week and all the things. So that's where we are. So there's a lot to get into from a promotion sense. England specifically, and Celtic and Rangers. They had Old Firm this past weekend, and you got matches in the midweek, which could lead itself to a title deciding Saturday in the Scottish League. So we got that. And plenty to get into news wise. We even have some World Cup stuff to get into involving Curacao. Craziness involving Curacao. Wild. And it just kind of, it's like, is the world a flat circle? I think it might be. Evening, D. Graham. So we got a lot of stuff to get into when it comes to the world in and of itself. And we will break it all down for you here in a bit. So, all right, let's get into today. And we'll start with today and kind of work our way backward into the weekend. And obviously, we'll have picks of the week in a bit. And thank you for hanging out for the early start time because it's kind of crazy right now with high school and with the morning show and with all the things. And so to try to get this in tonight had to be a little earlier than normal. And we thank your forbearance for that. So, Curacao. This comes from Simon Cooper. And he is a writer over at Financial Times. Just to give you an idea, Curacao, once again, smallest nation ever to qualify for the World Cup, looks like it is going to be coached by the oldest World Cup coach ever. Let me know if you've heard this name before. Dick Advocaat. Yeah, that Dick Advocaat. 78. Holland, Russia, Iraq, Rangers, et cetera, et cetera. It looks like he's going to be reappointed as coach. And you'll remember he stepped away because of family issues that had to be dealt with. Quit in November, just before they qualified. His daughter was badly ill. So then he suggested that Curacao, as a national federation, hire Fred Rutten. Now that the daughter has improved, Rutten has stepped down. Sponsors and players want Advocaat in the job, and you're 33 days away from Curacao in Germany. So Dick Advocaat, he was, then he wasn't, now he's back and he is. So Curacao has let Dick Advocaat go, and he had to attend to his daughter's, his daughter's health issues. Now that they are taken care of, there apparently was angst, and there was a whole lot of negativity that was associated with Fred Rutten and his coaching style. Players were not a fan. So Rutten stepped down as head coach following constructive discussions with the Federation leadership. Although Rutten himself was not the subject of the discussions, and this came from the Curacao national football team 280 character. Not the subject of the discussions, he chose to resign to protect stability and healthy professional relationships within the squad and staff. Quote, there must not be a climate that harms healthy professional relationships within the team or staff. That's why stepping down is the right decision. Time is pressing. Curacao must move forward. I regret how things unfolded, but I wish everyone the best. FFK praised Rutten's professionalism, leadership, and commitment to Curacao football, emphasizing he put the team's interest above his own ahead of important upcoming matches. FFK's board, meaning Curaçao's board, is going to decide on next steps today. Federation focus was on maintaining calm around the national team, continuing to build toward Curaçao's sporting ambitions. Press conference held tomorrow from 10 to 11. Further explanation regarding developments from February 2026 until now. Squad selection will not yet be announced. So 1 month before the tournament starts, Fred Rutten, who was the anointed successor by Dick Advocaat is gone. Dick Advocaat apparently is back. And so now you've got you have all of this happening. So Sky in Germany reporting that there were protests from the team as well as from sponsors, and so Fred Rutten stepped down. Germany's World Cup group opponent, Curacao. And so Rutten steps down, and it appears that Dick Advocaat is circling back. So nothing like 33 days before everything. Your previous coach, who stepped away, now becomes, once again, your permanent coach, who is stepping back in. And obviously, we're incredibly happy that that Dick Advocaat's his daughter is better and hopefully okay in the grander sense of things. But obviously, biggest thing right now, Dick Advocaat apparently is coming back to be the head coach of the team that he left in November, where he handpicked the successor who didn't work out well, apparently. And so now Dick Advocaat is back. Dick Advocaat is back. And so you've got Dick Advocaat as part of the daily news cycle having to do with what's going on today. Now, going over everything else that is going on. Guillermo Ochoa, Memo Ochoa is announcing on his accounts the start of a final training camp. Seeing it differently, fuller heart, more scars, more memories. Maybe soccer measures the years, but passion never learned to count time. I'm home with my national team. As long as there's a chance to fight for this country, my soul will be there first. And he had the hashtag no memo, no party. So there your Memo Ochoa is ready to go. And it is it's going to be interesting to see how that is in camp. So we'll see what it all looks like going forward. All right. Now getting into all of the other stuff that is going on. Let's get you into today. Today. And it was getting closer and closer and closer to figuring out, okay, who is going to be relegated, who's not. Matisse Tell apparently has gone from hero to villain. Spurs dropping points at home, and it was a 1-1 draw. And so you end up with now a 2-point margin. And then you wonder if Spurs should have been awarded a penalty at 90 plus 13. The biggest VAR call ever in the last 24 hours. And so you have right now a 2-point margin. So Matisse Tell gets the opener. Then he attempted an overhead kick in his own box, caught Ethan Ampadu with a high boot. Dominic Calvert-Lewin secures the penalty. Spurs only get 1 point, 2 points ahead of West Ham in 18th with 2 matches to go. 2 points, 2 matches. A big name is going to be going down. A big name is going to be going down. Roberto De Zerbi said referee Jared Gillett was, quote, not calm during the draw against Leeds. Match officials feeling the pressure after a VAR controversy at West Ham. Not calm, he says. James Maddison's late claim for a penalty also waved away. So Spurs squandered the chance to go 4 clear of West Ham with the penalty that Dominic Calvert-Lewin converted. VAR advised Gillette to look at the monitor to review a high boot while attempting to clear a ball with an overhead kick, catching Ampadu in the head. And there were reports from the Spurs side that he didn't make contact. And then there's a picture posted of Ethan Ampadu where he has a scuff mark from presumably a boot over his left eye. Lengthy on-field check, penalty appeal of their own on the 103rd. James Maddison goes down inside the area from contact from Lucas Nemeka. VAR check cleared the incident, sticking with Gillette's on-field decision of no penalty. I think they were not calm today, De Zerbi said. Maybe they suffered the pressure of yesterday's Arsenal game. For sure, we suffered the pressure today. We didn't play with passion with the ball. Too frenetic, but also the referee was not calm today. I can't understand the polemic about yesterday's VAR because it was 200% a foul. Not 100%, 200%. So Spurs gets 1 point instead of 3. Angst continues with Spurs, as you only have 2 more matches to figure out who's going down and who is staying up. 1-1 today. If Spurs had beaten Leeds, a lot of folks were saying that the relegation battle was over. But it's not. It is not under any circumstance. And so now, once again, 2 points on the board. Good evening, OG. Yes, OG, it's an early start tonight. And because of literally it was with everything going on with high school and with the Daily Show and the morning show, trying to get things organized, had to kind of push us up a little bit. So we're going to have picks of the week in a bit, but we'll go through as much as we can here, and we'll get it all figured out. So the playoff final in the championship, Hull 2-0 winners over Millwall in front of 17,768 at the Den. Blank you, I'm Hull City. Bellumi and Gelhart 15 minutes apart. So Hull City advances. Hull's going to face either Middlesbrough or Southampton for a place in the Premier League. Clinical display, 2-0 win, second leg, playoff final, and that will happen on May 23rd. First sixth place side in 7 years to win their semifinal, Hull City. Only the fifth time in the championship era since 2004-2005 that this has happened. Started the day of the final season outside the playoff places, 1 game away from returning to the Premier League for the first time since 2017, and they were down in League One for a year. So Hull City is this close. Sergej Jakirovic has coached them to this moment. And so there's your rundown of half of the battle. Xabi Alonso has emerged as the best candidate, according to Sky, for the head coaching gig at Chelsea. 3 Premier League clubs are targeting Jared Bowen. Liverpool, Newcastle, Everton, even if West Ham avoid relegation. That's from the 4-letter paper. Manchester United considering a move for Atalanta midfielder Ederson, could be available for around £40 million. It's from the Manchester Evening News. United, 3-letter paper, expected to be busy in the transfer window, targeting at least 5, including 3 central midfielders, a left back, and a striker. Liverpool interested in Monaco's Magnus Aggliush, valued around €50 million. That's from L'Equipe. Chelsea exploring the Xabi Alonso deal. That came from David Ornstein at The Athletic. Xabi Alonso's emerged as the front runner once again. That goes to the eye as well, and he feels his football can fit the Chelsea squad, according to The Independent. 3-letter paper, Chelsea have also stepped up their search after meeting Andoni Iraola. Glasner and Felipe Luis among the head coaches Chelsea checking on as they search for a permanent successor for Liam Rosenior. And that's from The Telegraph. Middlesbrough believe their season will not end even if they lose their championship playoff semi against Southampton, as they want the harshest sporting sanction against their opponents for spying, which includes them potentially being kicked out of the playoffs. 4-letter paper, forensic analysis of mobile phones, computers, and bank statements could hold the key to learning whether Southampton are guilty of systemic spying on rivals. So you have rivals that are kind of stepping up, sitting there going, hey, wait a minute. It may not be just Middlesbrough. Premier League reject to widening the scope of VAR next season after talks with the PGMOL. Real Madrid likely needing to sell players before bringing in new signings. Danny Ceballos among those that they could look to offload. And so you have all of that happening today. So you're getting a lot closer. Hull winning in aggregate 2-0. That gets them that much closer to possibly getting promoted. Now, back to the weekend. And we talk about promotion. And there are just some times where you kind of have to look at things and you're going, man, that's an absolutely crazy. Things are absolutely nuts. And so then you go into the 5th level of the English pyramid. And remember the discussion that we were having over the National League in and of itself, and really the issues that it's facing, because you had two teams score north of 100 points and only one got automatically promoted. The second one had to work their way through the promotion playoff, and they did. But it took a while. Boy, did it take a while. It took a while. The National League had their play-in, and it was just absolutely bonkers. York City gets in north of 100 points. Rochdale has to fight their way through. Promotion final with Boreham Wood. And Rochdale gets their way back into the EFL after a 3-year absence. Boreham Wood, by the way, one of the great names in the British Pyramid. Up 2-0, but Jimmy McNulty's men come back. Equalizer in the 97th, coming from 2-0 down to go to extra time. Man City keeper Ollie Watmuff. Whatmuff. I'm guessing that's how it's pronounced. I'm not going to pronounce it any other way. 3-1 on spot kicks. And here's how it ended. Courtesy of our friends at DAZN and the National League. Rochdale in on this.
Oh, and he's hit the woodwork. It's all over. Rochdale are heading back to the Football League. Shootout glory. Watmuff the hero, playing his part. And from the agony of a title loss with the final kick of the season, replaced now by sheer relief and jubilation. A crazy finish of what has been a gripping final.
Once again, thanks to our friends at DAZN and their coverage of the National League. So the team that finished second but still had north of 100 points, they had to fight their way through, win their semi, win this match against Boreham Wood. I just like saying Boreham Wood. So they go up against Boreham Wood, down 2-0, come back 2-2, go to PKs, and the ultimate decider hits the underside of the bar and skips out. So Rochdale works their way through, and it is they who are coming up to the EFL in 2026 for the 26-27 season. So you get that kind of a storybook thing, and you can't deny. Just at times you look at it and you sit there and you go, man, yeah, this is really cool stuff. But then you're getting into getting into the promotion playoffs and the other divisions. We mentioned Hull City's waiting. They might be facing some alleged low-down dirty cheaters. We'll find out. And then in League One, playoffs starting later on in the week, Stockport County, Stevenage, Bradford City, Bolton. Keep an eye on one of those. Actually, I'm going to write that down right now. So, all right. So this is this leg. And yes, it's going to be Bradford City and Bolton on the 14th. So League One, opening round of the promotion playoffs. You have time to think about it. But right now, Bradford City and Bolton, you're on the board. You're one of 8. And it is on that date. So I have to write it in the margin, otherwise I'm going to forget it. So Stockport County, Stevenage, Bradford City, and Bolton. They're trying to figure it out who's going to advance and who's going to go up into the championship next year. From a League Two perspective, playoffs are going to be on the 15th, which is what? Is that Friday? I think it's Friday. Friday. Salford City and Grimsby and Notts County and Chesterfield. Salford City is plus 125, draws a plus 250. Grimsby Town a plus 210. Notts County, 45 minutes later, is taking on Chesterfield at a plus 140, draws a plus 225, and Chesterfield is a plus 179. So those are your promotion play-in playoffs that you're going to have out of League Two, and that's going to go to figure out who's going to play and then go up into League One for that final slot. So that's your rundown of what is going on in England in the short version, because I can't do it the way that Jason does. So then we move over to Scotland really quickly. And we know how chaotic it can be, especially from all the time that we have spent following teams like Aberdeen and such. And so tomorrow, you have both the promotion group and the relegation group going after each other. Midweek weekend, and then the season's over. You get to figure out who gets relegated and who gets the promotions. So tomorrow it's Dunfermline, Partick Thistle, as well as Aberdeen hosting St. Mirren, and they're favored. Kilmarnock on the minus side against Dundee FC, and Dundee United favored at home against Livingston. Then 2 days from now, Wednesday, Motherwell and Celtic. Motherwell and Celtic, Hearts and Falkirk. Celtic, big favorite on the road at Motherwell. Hearts, big favorite at home against Falkirk, and Rangers and Hibs. Cabbage. Now you look at the championship group, and this is kind of where we're keeping an eye on things. Rangers has had an abysmal time in the relegation group. They've had in the championship group trying to chase after a title. Sorry. So you now have in the standings, the margin is now for Hearts. They are up 1 point with 2 matches to go. And you now have an opportunity for Celtic, who is who wrapped up the main. So let's see, the championship group. Hang on just a second. So the championship group, Hearts had a 1 point lead, and so now it is a 1 point lead with 2 matches to go, midweek weekend. Hearts at 77 points, Celtic at 76. Celtic have won 5 in a row. Rangers, however, have not. They have lost 3 in a row. They are floundering in third, and that is where they're going to stay. Danny Roll has been questioned about his job. I would anticipate that he will no longer be an employee at the end of the season. Hearts at 77. Celtic at 76. Rangers at 69. Normally I would say that's nice, but not in this case. Motherwell's at 58. Hibs is at 54. So there's a little bit of jockeying that can happen amongst the 4, the 5, and the 6, and then obviously the 1 and the 2. So Hearts, we mentioned them as a favorite at home against Falkirk. There is a 28-point differential between Falkirk, who is at the bottom of the championship group, and Hearts, who's at the top. So Hearts just has to keep the beat. And if they get a win in the midweek, Celtic gets a win against Motherwell, might be heading to the last day. Relegation group, just for issues and giggles, just so you know. St. Mirren and Livingston. Livingston going down. St. Mirren, maybe. They need some help, and they need Kilmarnock to continue not winning. But St. Mirren picked the worst time to go 4 in a row on the loss column. So how did we get to this particular point? Here's how Old Firm ended, courtesy of our friends at Sky Scotland.
And now Celtic Park merely waits for the whistle to confirm that Martin O'Neill, despite so many issues in a turbulent season at Celtic, is keeping them right in the race for the title in the final week. Celtic blew away their city rivals for Youssef Chamiti's goal earlier in the season. Dyson Maida came up with one sizzling, spectacular strike of his own, having put Celtic in front in the match. And the message is clear from Martin O'Neill's Celtic. 2 Hearts at the top. Watch out, because we are right behind you now, and we know what we're doing when it comes to winning titles. Rangers have fallen apart in their post-split matches, losing 3 in a row, but Celtic will keep going to Motherwell on Wednesday as Hearts host Falkirk, and then next Saturday here it could be a title decider as Celtic and Hearts collide on the final day. What a game, what a title race, what a season. It ends here. Celtic 3, Rangers 1.
And that was the end of the broadcast from Sky Scotland. Thanks to them for that. And now they laid it all out for you, probably better than I could. But basically, if you're Hearts and you keep the beat, you end up with the title. You don't stumble in the midweek, and then that means that you would have a 1-point advantage heading into the weekend, and you're playing Celtic, as it should be. Everybody keep an eye out on Jarrett on social media tomorrow and on Saturday. Jarrett will also be at Rio Tinto for SDH Mountain and breaking everything down there for that new matchup. So very, very cool that he will be in Rio Tinto in Sandy, Utah. So keep an eye on that in Scotland. I wanted to go and let you know about another couple of countries before we get into picks of the week. And one of them is Germany. And you got to have a really cool moment this past week involving Union Berlin. And you only get to have these moments once. Union Berlin, obviously they've had a bit of a rough year. And they made the point to have a coaching change. And so then, what are you going to look for in the final handful of matches over the season? And so what do you come up with? And you end up with a win on the weekend in Mainz, winning 3-1. Andre Illich scored in the 38th. Geraldo Becker, who's now at Mainz, evened it up at 1. Oliver Burke and Josip Juranovic scored in 88 and 90 plus 1. Marie-Louise Eta gets her first 3 points as head coach. 3 changes to the side that started against Cologne last week. But you end up with a crowd of 32,600 getting Eta's first win. Piece of history in the Bundesliga, and Marie-Louise Eta, who is just there this year by everyone's admission. It is just, you're the interim, then you're going to move over and go out and coach the women's side. And it was that first. You get that first in the Bundesliga, which it's crazy to think about. But she makes history as becoming Union Berlin's manager. And then you end up getting the first ever win for a female manager in the Bundesliga. So you're hitting the ground running once again into the season, and you end up with a big win just in the sense for Union Berlin there. So Union Berlin was a dog on the road at Mainz, a plus 359, 2 goals in 3 minutes get you the Duke. And so Union Berlin gets the win on Sunday. And so that means the standings in the Bundesliga are this. It is one match to go, and each of these three teams that is being discussed about it is in serious trouble one way or the other. But just to let you know, Union Berlin is in 12th. They're safe with one match to go. So their one match to go, if you're Union Berlin, is against Augsburg, and they're 9th. So it's 43 points for Augsburg, 36 for Union Berlin. It's in battle of 9th versus 12th. If Augsburg is going to be chasing 7, 8, 9, they have an outside chance of getting the Europa Conference League spot, or the Europa League spot, actually. Yeah, it is conference. Okay, so Europa Conference League spot. Freiburg is currently in it at 44 points. So Augsburg has something to chase after. They're unbeaten in their last 5, and they've won 3 of their last 4. So Union Berlin, with a draw and a win in their last 2, if they get any kind of a result, they would rocket to 10th place ahead of Mainz and Hamburger. They'd wrap up at 39 points. But either, they're safe because right now the pyramid, 6 points away from safety. Wolfsburg, Heidenheim, and St. Pauli. And the reason that I bring the 3 of them up is this. If you're looking for a last day to watch, if you're looking at, a league that you might not necessarily watch on a regular basis, but as some folks are here in the Twitch pitch, they firmly believe in chaos. And, there's nothing wrong with chaos on occasion, but you really want chaos on the final day. 16, 17, and 18 in the Bundesliga is it for you. Wolfsburg, Heidenheim, and St. Pauli. They all have the identical record of 6, 8, and 19. You're like, okay, that's a good start. St. Pauli, by the way, has lost 4 of 5. Heidenheim has 7 points in their last 3 matches. Wolfsburg had a 3-match unbeaten string snapped last time out. So you have Wolfsburg, Heidenheim, and St. Pauli, all 6, 8, and 19, all at 26 points. All are in the relegation spots. You just don't know where yet. Because Wolfsburg plays St. Pauli at St. Pauli. Heidenheim gets to play Mainz, who is 11 points better than they are, but it is at home. So, okay, 3 teams at 26 points. The way that the relegation system works in Germany, the bottom 2 teams are relegated to Bundesliga B. The third team, the team that finishes second to last in 16th, plays in a relegation playoff against the third place team in Bundesliga B. Winner of that matchup is Bundesliga material for the following season. Wolfsburg has a goal difference of minus 26. Heidenheim has a goal difference of minus 29. St. Pauli has a goal difference of minus 29. So everything is structured pretty soundly. Everybody's got 26 points. Okay, cool. Second stage. Wolfsburg has a goal difference of minus 26. Heidenheim and St. Pauli have a goal difference of minus 29. Obviously, Heidenheim has better offense than St. Pauli does. St. Pauli's only scored 28 times in 33 matches. Heidenheim has scored 13 more goals in that same time frame. So any kind of, if you have to get into the third category to determine what it's going to look like, 3 teams, same number of points. 3 teams separated by 3 goals in goal difference. 2 of those 2, the second and the third place team in this discussion, have the same number at goal difference. Wolfsburg and Heidenheim, by the way, are 1 goal separate from one another in goals scored. So you have to keep an eye out for all of this on the weekend. You literally have to keep an eye on the number of points, what's happening in Wolfsburg and St. Pauli, what's happening with Heidenheim and Mainz. Then you have to keep an eye on goal difference because, let's say, for the sake of argument, Wolfsburg and St. Pauli go for a while, and they wrap at 27 points. Then you got to check out goal difference. Then Heidenheim, once again at minus 29, they have one less goal scored over Wolfsburg, 41-42. So you're looking at something that could come down to the final day involving three teams, no difference in points, three numbers different in goal difference. Team 1 and Team 2 are separated by one goal on offense all season long. So all of these different variables that are going to be attached to the final day of the Bundesliga competition, they're all at the bottom. Don't get me wrong. All of that information is at the bottom. So if you want chaos, go watch those two. And if you are an Union Berlin fan, they are hosting Augsburg at home. Augsburg's got something to play for. Union Berlin has a different something to play for, but it should be interesting nevertheless. Bayern, 16 points clear of everybody. Dortmund second. RB Leipzig is third. Stuttgart or Hoffenheim is fourth. Stuttgart has a superior goal difference. Bayer Leverkusen fifth or sixth. Freiburg is seventh. And they've lost 2 of 3 to get into that spot with one match to go in the regular season. And Eintracht Frankfurt's at 43 points. Augsburg's at 43 points. So you want chaos, go to the Bundesliga. I'm just saying, go to the Bundesliga because it is chaos, and I'm not kidding. So if you've got, like I said, if you're a neutral but just are in it for the chaos, then go to the Bundesliga on decision day. Just go to them on decision day. And keeping an eye on the rest of the planet will let you know what else is going on. Should anything else stumble across our collective bow, so to speak. But you had those moments from the weekend to continue to create complete and total chaos wherever you can find it in the leagues in and around Europe. Once again, big day Wednesday in Scotland in the Premier League. Man City making up a match with Crystal Palace, 3:00 on Wednesday afternoon. So there's plenty to break down and discuss going forward here. Jose Mourinho is becoming more and more likely to become the next Real Madrid head coach. You don't say. This is what happens when Florentino Perez is leading the search engine. He was there from 2010 to 2013. Mourinho's in charge of Benfica. Unbeaten league campaign close by. But really chasing after Jose Mourinho again, 2010 to 2013. He thinks that Mourinho could be the coach to kind of put things down in the dressing room to make sure that everybody's like focusing on the task at hand. Not so much. Jose has said, I haven't had any contact neither with the president nor with any of the important people in the structure. And by my own decision, a decision similar to others I had in my career, especially now in the final stages of the season. I don't speak to anyone. Therefore, I haven't had any contact with Real at all. Once again, just because Jose Mourinho says he's had no contact does not mean that his agents have not. People opening doors and cracking open doors in hallways just to see what's going on. But we have not had that happen yet. Lionel Messi named in the preliminary World Cup squad for Argentina, despite not yet confirming if he will play. This is the 55-player roster by those in charge with Scaloni. Christian Romero injured. Garnacho. Benfica's Prestiani. He's been picked up despite the 6-match ban by UEFA. Paulo Dybala not in the squad, 40 caps. Hasn't featured since 24. Keepers: Emi Martinez, Rulli, Musso, Walter Benitez, Cambeses, and San Diego Beltran. Defenders: G.I., Montiel, Molina, Capaldo, Kevin McAllister, Lucas Corta, Marcus Senesi, Lissandro Martinez, Otamendi, Petzela, Balerdi, Cristian Romero, Deloyo from Boca Juniors, Zaid Romero, Facundo Medina, Marcus Acuna, Nicolas Tagliafico, and Gabriel Rojas. Midfielders, not a whole lot of them for Scaloni here. Peroni, Paredes, Guido Rodriguez from Valencia, Anibal Moreno, Delgado Varela, Rodrigo de Paul, Palacios, Enzo Fernandez, Alexis, Lo Celso, Dominguez, Buendia, and Barco, Valentin Barco. Forwards: Messi, Nico Paz, Mastuantuono, Thiago Almada, Tomas Aranda, Nico Gonzalez, Alejandro Garnacho, Simeone, Matias Sula, Echeverri, Prestiani, Santi Castro, Lautaro Martinez, Jose Manuel Lopez, and Julian Alvarez, along with Mateo Pellegrino. So that is your rundown of the preliminaries roster for Argentina. Speaking of, Otamendi and Ecuador midfielder Moises Caicedo will not have to serve one-game bans after being sent off in their team's last qualifying matches, according to FIFA late last week. Decisions are a part of an amnesty of most disciplinary sanctions stemming from World Cup qualifiers instigated by the FIFA Bureau. There's your buddy cop drama. There's your buddy cop drama right there. All right. If there has been anything that I missed in picks of the in the day-to-day, let me know, and we will go over said picks and suggestions. But since we've kind of hit the halfway point of the show here, we're going to break it all down for you and let you know what's next. And we do that with fancy graphics and a kick and horn section. So let's go ahead and get you into the tomfoolery and shenanigans associated with the picks of the week. I love that horn section. All right, so we're going to learn about all this stuff together because, frankly, it's been a while, and I apologize for that. But like I said, we're just running around as fast as we can here. So back on the last go-round where it was Dinamo and Andijan in the Uzbek Super League. The Uzbek Super League. I have to go back to round 10 and see about Dinamo and Andijan. Andijan got the win. And oh my God, I got it right. Look at that. So Andijan, a 2-1 win, and John got it correct. Holy crap. So while we're here, before SofaScore decides to abandon me and all of my silliness, we have Super League coming up, and what happened here? So are we in a break? I think we might actually be in a Super League break. Yeah, we're in a Super League break until after the World Cup. So we cannot, under any circumstance or auspice, pick anything else going on involving the Uzbek Super League. Close to the halfway point. The 11 matches in. They're going to have a big old sprint after. But it's Neftchi and Paktikor, 28 and 26 points. Buksoro and Navbahar, 20. Bunyotkor and Lokomotiv, 19 points and 17. OKMK, at 16, ahead of Well, how are they ahead of Andijan? That's what I'd like to know, considering that Andijan has had 5 wins. OKMK has had 4. I'm guessing it's because of a combination of wins and draws, equaling 8 for OKMK and 6 for Andijan. Nasaf is at 14. Shorazm is at 13, and they are ahead of Kizilkum, who, frankly, had no business being Kizilkumi when they were on Picks of the Week a couple weeks ago. Sirkon is in the relegation playoff spot in 12 points. Dinamo, Kokon 19-12 are at 11, and it is Dinamo with more results, 3 wins over 2 and 5 points over 7. And so then you have Sogdiana is at 9 points, and Mashal has not won a match this year. They are 0 for 11. They are 0 for 11. 4 goals scored in 11 matches. They've given up 21 in 11. Goal difference of -17. Yeah, they're going to finish last. So Mashal is going to finish last in the World Cup setup. So that's not a good thing. And we actually do have, while we're here, we actually do have a little bit of something that we can get into. And it comes from our sources in South America. Brian Gutierrez apparently has made his decision to stay with Mexico and the Mexico national team in El Tri, according to the Vamos show and reposted by Cesar Luis Merlo. From a young age, the Mexican-American grew up supporting El Tri, wearing the Mexico jersey, dreaming of one day defending those colors. Always showed a special connection with Mexico, something that today fills many fans with hope for the future of the national team. There is an interview that Cesar Luis Merlo does with Brian Gutierrez, and we'll find out his thoughts about his future. Brian Gutierrez possibly hanging out with El Tri and not doing any activity with the U.S. men's national team. So we'll keep an eye on that with Brian Gutierrez. Interview posted with Cesar Luis Merlo and the Vamos show. But, yeah, we're stuck. We're done with picking the Uzbek Premier League, Super League, because they're done for a while. They're in their World Cup break. So we got to come up with other countries and try to figure out what we can play with here when it comes to all the activity. But actually, you know what? We probably I need to go back and we need to see what happened last time out, just so we have a rundown. Belarusian Cup back 2 weeks ago. So let me see if I can find the end results there, because nothing is currently posted in the Belarusian Cup section when it comes to our juice boxers. So Belarusian Super Cup. Belarusian Super Cup went to not the Belarusian Super Cup. I just need the Belarusian Cup. I don't need the Belarusian Cup. I just need the Belarusian Cup. I don't need Super Cup. Apparently not. Okay, so I guess we go to ML Vitebsk, Belarusian football. And, they are coached by Magomed Adiev. And working backward, they're going to be playing Arsenal in the Vyshasha Liga this week. So Dynamo Minsk beat Vitebsk back on the 29th. Final score of 1-0. I had a draw, so, of course, that one was wrong. Ecuador. Let's see if we can find out what we got here. So Ecuador in the Liga Pro. Universidad Católica and Independiente del Valle. Looking at the standings, Mucha is playing Liga de Quito right now, actually. So Universidad Católica and Independiente del Valle. IDV had a 3-2 win, and I picked Católica, so, of course, I was wrong there. That's disappointing. And so now the Cyprus League in the relegation half. Did we actually find out who was going to be who is in the relegation group? Okay, so results. The Cloraca and Ashras match from a while back. This was a while back. Okay, so Curacao and Achnas. Curacao got the win. I picked Curacao at a plus 160. Yay, good for me. So that's a win at a plus 160. So I've got 2 and 2, and I've got 289, and so I'm at plus 89 going into South Korea. South Korea, the K-League, yes, K-League 1. Incheon and Gangwon. Your results. Gangwon and Daejeon are going to be playing tomorrow morning at 6:30 our time. So looking at the results, back. So Incheon, Gangwon got the win, and I picked a draw because I didn't know any better. So down to minus 11. So Gangwon won that one by the score of, where is it? 1-0 over Incheon. All right. And so then League One, Bolton and Luton, which happened on that Saturday. I think it was the Saturday of chaos, I think is what we were staring at last week's of the regular season. So it would have been Bolton and Luton winning 3-2, got the win there at a plus 154. So I'm at a plus 143. It's my best showing in a while with a couple of matchups to go. We probably will be going into one of these countries when it comes to their playoffs. So going back to the 30th or the 2nd, basically, of May, Tigres and Chivas. Tigres got the win 3-1 over Chivas at a minus 114. And then MLS, it was Austin and Cité and St. Louis City SC. So going back into that one, looking at results around the 2nd or the 3rd of May. I think it was the 3rd of May with Austin and St. Louis City. Austin 2-0 winner over St. Louis City, and they got the win at a plus 250. So I actually, I was 4-4 this last time we did picks of the week. So plus 129, plus 289, plus 443, plus 593. So plus 593. So I ended up at a plus 193 for the week. And I had the championship tiebreaker wrong because it was Hull got in over Wrexham and Derby. So I ended up with a plus 193. That's not bad for me considering my past horrors. Yeah, the Uzbek defender at Man City. Any of the Uzbek players at other clubs. Let's take a peek, OG, and we'll see if we can look at. All right, so let's see. Uzbek national team. Uzbekistan national soccer team. I think you're thinking of Husanov, the Uzbek defender. So the Uzbek national football team. Let's see. Fabio Cannavaro, Shomodarov. Where's my roster? I need my roster. Players. So, yeah, Abdulkadir Husanov with Manchester City. A lot of them are playing in country. So Shamuradov is the captain at Başakşehir. He is at Başakşehir, and he is the captain of the national team. So we might end up doing Turkish league at some point. And it might have to be Başakşehir unless the matchup is just completely and totally out of sorts. So, okay. The 13th in Major League Soccer, and this is where we're going to be kind of piecing games together here. So the 13th is Wednesday. 14th is Thursday. So 13th will go there. I like this one. And getting the numbers on it. Okay, so I got that one. All right, so now because of Shamurodov, let's go to Turkey and see where we are in the Super League. And if Başakşehir is favored on the weekend. So as much as we enjoy close matchups, that would not be one. Başakşehir is at Gaziantep, and that is on Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock, and you can get that on BN Sports. You can get BN and all the BNs on Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Link's important, helps us out, helps you out, helps them out, adds more to your streaming services that you got. A lot of the action in South America, A and B divisions are there. Copa Argentina, Copa Libertadores, Copa Sudamericana. In all the BN territory, it is the Middle East. It is the French League, Turkish League, and what's the third one that I always forget? Polish League. You can see, I'll check the Polish League coming up too. So you've got all of those. You have tie-ins to CATV. You have tie-ins to Tigo Sports. You have tie-ins to all the places. You can get it at fanatis.ftz.co/soccer down here. So if we were to look at Saturday, and that might be the one. So I think it might be. All right. So we will go Saturday in the Turkish League. Like I said, and I'm looking at matchups and I'm going, okay, that looks good. Autumn Reeser Jesse Metcalf vehicle is currently on the Hallmark channel. So, all right, so that one and that one there. And what I think I'm going to do, like I said, what I think I'm going to do when it comes to the first stage, we will call it right before going into the World Cup. So first stage will end when MLS ends. We'll do that. MLS schedule comes to a close. Everybody starts to head to their training camps. MLS schedule comes to a close. That's the end of stage one. Stage two begins with the World Cup. And we'll take that through the end of the MLS season into late November, early December. So stage one ends when MLS is over. It goes on hiatus. From there, stage two. You've been warned. So we'll look at that one. So Saturday is the 16th. And we've got 3 matchups so far. Okay, so then if we do that, then what we probably should do just to turn around would be doing something on Saturday or Sunday. Ooh, I think I know what we're doing on Sunday. Sunday night soccer, unavoidable. And that one will be number 4. And I know what my tiebreaker is going to be. It's been one that we've had before. But we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into with this particular tiebreaker. All right. So 4 matches in the tiebreaker have been picked. And so we'll see what other kind of trouble we can get into here. Not quite. It was close, but not quite. And let's see. What do we have here? Okay. So there's that one. There's that one. And wow, there's a lot of action on Sunday in this one. And okay, so we'll do this one here on Sunday in Argentina. And that would be at what time? 4 p.m. All right, so that one. And that one, hang on. almost there with this matchup. So we're at matchup number 5. And so 5 matches in and the tiebreakers. That's where I am. That's what we've got so far. And that's not helping. And that's really not helping. How about we go here? See if there's anything worth anything there. And the answer is not really. So here, maybe, perhaps. Yeah, standing reset at the end. Yeah, standing reset. So basically what it would be is a standing reset at the end of stage 1. And then we've got to figure out how we want to do stage 2. Stage 2 to a certain point, and then we have a run-in. So stage 1 ends, everybody resets. Stage 2 to a point probably would have the winner of stage 1, the winner of stage 2 go in, and then come up with something for the run-in to figure out, okay, what the rest of it's going to look like. So it'd probably be like 1 and 2, and then probably one matchup at the end to determine the campeón de campeones. Would probably be the way I would go about it. So that would be like my thought is standing reset. Everybody, we go for one matchup at the end of it all, and we hit the window for a campeón de campeones. So we'll do it that way. So first half is like the Montreal Expos. So first half, second half, campeón de campeones match, and you get the big belt. So something like that. So, okay, here. All right, so that. And where was this matchup? It was on Saturday at 8 o'clock. All right. Like I said, I'm writing them down as I find them. And then what I'll do is I'll put them in order, because when I was trying to put them in order, it would always end up taking entirely too much time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need 2 more, preferably later in the week. Not on weekends, but like preferably in the week. So we're going to have that one here. Nope. That one's not going to work. So what if we go here? It's not going to work. No, because that margin's too big. And, all right. So that one stayed put. Let's see. You're going to help me out here. And give me something close. And the answer is no, not really. You're not helping the man out here. He's trying to wrap things up. And you're not giving any answers. Margins are too big there, because I want the margins to be kind of close. I mean, I don't want it to be completely and totally out of control. That's not going to work. That one will not work. That one will not work. So we're not going to be touching them this week as a league, and not just once, but twice. Okay. Still nothing there. That's not helping me there. Trying to determine, like I said, I need 2 games. I need 2 games, and then we're off and running here. So, well, actually, hang on. Would this one work? Yeah, it actually would. Okay. So it's ending up more on Saturday, but we do have some activity in the midweek. And this one has to do with actual copy that we had earlier this evening. So we're circling back and finding out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so I need an 8th one, and then we're good to go for the weekend. And we're going to get anything here. Yeah, we actually are. Okay, so let's, yeah, all right, so let's do that because that also gives us something else here in the league. All right, so, all right, I've got the 8 and I've got the tiebreaker. And I've got the matchups all squared away, so we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into here. The 8 matches have been picked, as has the tiebreaker, and we will lock it all down. Here we go. All right. In the initial match, it's actually going to be tomorrow. Going to the Ukrainian Premier League, 11 o'clock in the morning. Virus Rivna hosting Krivbas. Virus Rivne is a favorite at a plus 165, draws a plus 250. Krivbas a plus 140. Standings in the Premier League heading into tomorrow. Shakhtar Donetsk, by the way, has clinched their 14th championship. They did that, winning 20 of their first 27. They are 11 points clear with 3 matches to go. Virus Rivna is in 10th at 31 points. They are safe from they're on the edge of being safe from relegation. At this point, they need 1 point to not be relegated. Krivbas is in 7th at 44. Virus Rivna is 10th at 31. Krivbas has hit each column once in their last 3. Virus Rivna has drawn their last 2 after losing 2 of 3. So Virus Rivna, 31 points, 27 matches, on the verge of being safe in the Ukrainian Premier League. And Krivbas favored on the road at Virus Rivna at a plus 140. Draws a plus 280. Virus Rivna is a plus 165. I've got to go with Krivbas here. So Krivbas, who is 7th in the league currently, gets my first vote here on the week. Now, those are later. That's later. Okay, midweek MLS. We do have a lot of teams that are playing in the midweek. So the chaos for friends like KCD, who is not going to be with us tomorrow, going from one match to the next. She had Dallas and RSL last time out. So at 7:40 tomorrow night, or Wednesday night, the Revs in Nashville. Revs are a plus 188 at home. Draws a plus 250. Nashville's a plus 140. That's matchup number 2. Revs hosting Nashville and MLS on Wednesday night. Evening Coco. Matchup number 3. League One playoffs. Thursday in England. That kind of hurt. 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday. League One playoff. Bradford City hosting Bolton at Valley Parade. The Bantams are a plus 150. Draws a plus 250. And Bolton Wanderers are a plus 175. I actually forgot to tell you, I'm going to go the Revs in matchup number 2. And I'm going to go with Bradford City, the Bantams, in matchup number 3. So League One playoffs, semifinals, Stockport County and Stevenage are on Wednesday. Bradford City and Bolton are on Thursday. Bradford City a plus 150. Draws a plus 250. Bolton Wanderers are a plus 175. I'm going the Bantams at home. Now it is number 4. And this is where we've got to look at timestamps, because we do have 3 matchups that are on Saturday. And I've got to get my timestamps ready just so it's all squared away and so no one's stepping on each other when it comes to that one. Okay, I think it's safe to say that one's probably first. Then this is decision day in the Bundesliga. Everybody starts at 9:30 in the morning, by the way. So those are the first two. Okay, so here we go. Matchup number 4, having to do with the story that we told earlier in the show. How will Marie-Louise Eta wrap up her interim caretaker manager career at FC Union Berlin? Hosting Augsburg. Union Berlin plus 170, Augsburg a plus 150, draw is a plus 280. Standings, as I pick Union Berlin, every matchup starts at 9:30, remember. Union Berlin, 4 points in their last 2 matches. They're coming around, a draw and a win. They're in 12th. They can't touch Augsburg, who has won 3 of 4, unbeaten in 5, and they are in a battle for European football. Freiburg, Eintracht Frankfurt, 44 and 43 points. Augsburg has a far inferior goal difference. So if anything comes down to goal difference, Augsburg probably would be out of whatever the discussion is. Union Berlin and Augsburg, matchup number 4. Union Berlin a plus 170, plus 150 for Augsburg. Draw is a plus 280. I'm going for Marie-Louise Eta in her finale to get the win. Yes, I'm a sucker for a great story. So FC Union Berlin. 10 o'clock in the Turkish league. We were trying to figure out if we could find a good matchup with Başakşehir here. We could not. So we're going with the first game on the board on Saturday morning. Karagümrük and Alanyaspor. Karagümrük and Alanyaspor. Looking at the standings. Karagümrük. Oh, this is a relegation battle too. Okay. 16, 17, 18, all going down. This is a relegation battle here. Karagümrük is at 27 points, and they need a win to jump Antalyaspor. Antalyaspor is at 29 points. Goal difference is separated by 1. Antalyaspor at a minus 23. Karagümrük at a minus 24. Kayserispor, by the way, is the third team in this equation. And so Karagümrük is at 27 points, and they are behind Antalyaspor by 2 points for 16th. So Karagümrük needs a win against Alanyaspor, who is in a battle themselves. Alanyaspor is at 37 points at 7, 16, and 10, but they have a far superior goal difference over Kocaelispor and Gaziantep. I know, God bless me. So Karagümrük needs a win to get out of the relegation zone. They need Antalyaspor to lose to get out of the relegation zone, and perhaps bring in Jinkirbirligi into the relegation zone. So basically, Karagümrük needs to win. Alanyaspor needs to win or just better the results of Kocaelispor and Gaziantep to stay in 10th place, middle of the table. Karagümrük is a plus 170. Alanyaspor is a plus 154, and the draw is a plus 220. I'm going Alanyaspor in this one. So then that gets us to Chile, and that gets us to 8 o'clock in the Liga de Primera. The late game at 8 o'clock on Saturday night, Limache and Universidad Católica in the Liga de Primera in Chile. Standings going into this one. Limache is in second at 21 points and a far superior goal difference than anyone around them. And then you have Universidad Católica, who are in fifth, 4 points behind. Goal difference is decent, but they've lost 2 in a row going into this game at Limache. Limache has hit each column once in their last 3. They've won 3 of 5. Limache a plus 145. Universidad Católica in Chile is a plus 160. Draws a plus 260. I'm going with Limache. Didn't they sing Hush Hush, Eye to Eye back in the 80s? Limache. So Limache is right now second in the table. Universidad Católica is 5th. 4 points separate. Católica's lost 2 in a row. Limache has won 3 of 5. They've hit the columns each once in their last 3. So that is matchup number 6. Matchup number 7, Sunday afternoon in Argentina, but it is in the Primera. It is not in the LPF. Sunday the 17th, kicking off at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Gimnasia y Tiro against San Martin. Gimnasia y Tiro and San Martin. Standings, as we try and sort out the groups. Group A, as our friends at Almirante Brown. Group A is on their own. This is Group B territory. San Martin is at 18 points after 11 matches. They've hit each column once in their last 3. Then you've got to go all the way down to 16th, where Gimnasia y Tiro has lost 3 in a row, 4 of 5. They're hurting. So Gimnasia y Tiro, in the bottom of Group B, is only out on goal difference. But they are a plus 179, draws a plus 165. San Martin T is in 6th at 18 points. And so Gimnasia y Tiro is behind by 6, so basically 2 wins, even though they've lost 3 in a row and 4 of 5. And I'm going to go with a draw here. Gimnasia y Tiro, 3 losses in a row, 4 of 5, going up against San Martin T, who is on the road, and they've hit each button once in their last 3, so I don't know about this one. So not knowing about that one makes it, once again, a draw. Last matchup on the board. It is Sunday night soccer in Major League Soccer. And this is the first time I think that we've ever had Nashville on twice. I just noticed this. Nashville hosting LAFC at Geodis for Sunday night soccer. Nashville's a plus 120. LAFC, considering what we saw last night, is a plus 200. And the draw is a plus 270. I would say it all hinges kind of on Denny Bwanga's health. But, I'll go draw here too. I'm thinking cookie wacky draw. So cookie wacky draw with Nashville and LAFC. All right, so here you go. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., Ukrainian Premier League. Veres Rivna and Krivbas. I picked Krivbas. Revs in Nashville Wednesday night. In Foxborough, I went with the Revs. Match number 3, Thursday, League One playoffs. Bradford City and Bolton. Bradford City favorite. I picked Bradford City. The Bantams. Number 4, Bundesliga. A couple of them on Saturday on the Bundesliga. The finale for Marie-Louise Eta as head coach at Union Berlin. Bit of a dog against Augsburg at a plus 150. FC Union Berlin is a plus 170. I'm going with the dog at home. Send her out on a great note. Then, half hour later, remember all the matches start at 9:30 in the morning on Saturday in the Bundesliga. Matchup number 5 is in the Turkish League at 10 a.m. Karagümrük in the relegation battle Alanyaspor trying to get themselves into the upper half of the table. They're in a three-way tie. Alanyaspor is favored at Karagümrük. I'm taking Alanyaspor. Number 6, Sunday. Well, is it Sunday? Which one? 7, 8? Yeah, about the same. Yeah, the same time. Well, actually, technically, MLS is at 8:10, so we should be okay. 8 o'clock, Sunday night, Chile, Liga de Primera, Limache and Universidad Católica. Limache favored at a plus 145, Universidad Católica plus 160, draws a plus 260. High in the table, Limache will get there, and I've got Limache in the win. And the last one, Nashville and LAFC. So Nashville goes to New England, then has to turn around and play at Geodis, and they play LAFC on Sunday Night Soccer at 8:10 kick. Nashville and LAFC draws a plus 270. Nashville is favored. LAFC is not, and I'm going to go with the draw with Nashville and LAFC. So those are the 8 matchups. And your tiebreaker, how many goals are scored in Major League Soccer this week? I'll go with 93. So that's your tiebreaker. So tomorrow morning at 11, the Ukrainian League, Ukrainian Premier. Wednesday night, MLS. Thursday afternoon, League One playoffs. Saturday morning, Bundesliga. Saturday morning, Turkish League. Saturday night, Chilean Liga de Primera. 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, the Primera in Argentina. Followed up with Sunday Night Soccer, Nashville and LAFC. So those are your 8. May your picks be with you, and I will post them later tonight in the Discord. I should remember to be posting them in the Discord, so we'll see. So those are the 8 right there. And the matchups, a week after I got to plus 193 and actually had a plus score. What's the world coming to? I have no idea. So that is the rundown for the show. Remember, tomorrow, back at it, 9:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Let me say hi to everybody. Morning, Coco. Morning, OG. And morning, D. Graham. Morning to all of you, and evening to all of you folks who came in tonight. So once again, 9:05 tomorrow morning. It is going to be Kalani McAlpine, the head coach at Georgia, joining us at 9:30 to talk about the activity between the hedges that is slated in August. We'll talk team a little bit. We'll talk SEC. We'll talk expectations and the brain trust behind it and what it's going to be like to be there at Sanford Stadium playing soccer against James Madison in August. It is going to be the head coach at Whitfield Academy. Coach Hellier is joining us at 10:30. Shannon Coley from Cahulla Creek joining us at 10:45. That sets up Red Clay. And Red Clay, we catch up with Alex Zimmerman, the head coach of East Hall, as they get ready for the AAA boys matchup against Islands. Remember, we caught up with Justin Brantley earlier in Red Clay today. So Zimmerman will be on tape. And then we'll catch up with the 2 Thomasville coaches, back-to-back, Lucas Kimball and Patrick Peterson. And we'll catch up with the 2 of them. And that will be Red Clay Tuesday while we continue to wrangle up more guests and get you ready for the 4 championship games tomorrow. Maddie and Jason are going to be at Duluth for the AAA. Girls, Oconee County, Jefferson. Boys, Islands and East Hall. Nick and Justin Hanover are going to be at St. Pius for the private school showdowns, Holy Innocents and Wesleyan on the girls' side. Whitfield Academy, Hebron Christian on the boys' side. So that's going to be the rundown there for the 4 matchups on Tuesday as we get you squared away for the 4 matchups on Wednesday, the 4 matchups on Thursday, and the 4 matchups on Friday. So that's your rundown for tomorrow and your rundown for tonight. That is another go-round of soccer over there. Shenanigans, buffoonery, ups and downs. And your favorite team, hopefully, is not getting kicked in the teeth in all this. So we'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, 9:05. Break it all down for you. And since it is the end of the show here on an SOT, Buffoonery and Shenanigans, it means we go here. Which plot, y'all. Play it safe. We'll see you in the morning, 9:05.